Today's Bible story comes to us from the New Testament book of Luke, from his account of Jesus' life, ministry, death, and resurrection. We find that on one time, a religious teacher came to Jesus and asked him, "Teacher, what do I need to do to get eternal life?" Jesus answered, "What's written in God's law, in the Old Testament of the Bible? How do you interpret it? How do you understand it?" The man said, "That you love the Lord your God with all your passion and prayer and muscle and intelligence, and that you love your neighbor as well as you love yourself." "Good answer," Jesus said. "Do it and you will live." Looking for a loophole, the teacher then asked, "And who is my neighbor? Or how would you define who your neighbor is?" Jesus answered by telling a story. He said, "There once was a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, a notoriously dangerous road, a place where many people would get harmed. And he said on the way he was attacked by robbers. They took his clothes, beat him up, and left him for dead. Luckily, a priest who was on his way down the same road saw him. But when he saw him, instead of stopping to help him, instead he crossed over to the other side of the road in order to avoid him. Passed right on by. He should have known to stop and help him. Another man who should have known to stop him and help him was a helper from the temple who also came along that same road, a Levite. But when he came, he also passed over to the other side. Jesus said, a Samaritan traveling down the road came upon him. Now in those days, Samaritans were nearby people who lived near the Jewish people, but they disagreed with one another on all sorts of things like politics and religion, and they disliked each other so much that they would go out of their way to avoid one another so they could stay away from others. But Jesus says in this story, when the Samaritan man saw the hurt man's condition, his heart went out for him. He gave him first aid, disinfecting and bandaging his wounds. He lifted him onto his donkey and led him to an inn and made him comfortable. In the morning, he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take good care of him. If he costs any more, put it on my bill and I will pay you on my way back." Jesus said to the teacher, "Who do you think became the neighbor of the man who was attacked by these robbers? Which one of them was his neighbor?" "The one who treated him kindly," the religion scholar responded. Jesus said to him, "Go and do the same." You see, in this story, the religious teacher, he was trying to determine who he would have to help because he wanted to draw a line between the people that he had to help and those he didn't. But what we find in the story is that Jesus extended the idea of our neighbor, right? Somebody we normally think of as being the person who lives next door to us, or even the person of the same community as us. He extended it all the way out to even our enemies, even the people that we don't like, the people that we might want to avoid. Those people are also our neighbors, no matter where they are around the world. You see, when God looks at us, he realizes that we are all one group of people. We're all neighbors with one another. And so he wants us all to love one another, to love each other as neighbors. We should remember that because God helps us, we should help one another.